That's just a terrible take, personally.
We got shellacked.
What's going on, everyone? It's Wednesday, October 8th, 2025, which means you are watching the latest edition of the Starting Lineup. I'm your host, Jacob Aries, and tonight I'm happily joined by Eve Shaver and Trevor Shaughnessy. Now, guys, before we begin, I did find this calendar online that tells you random but very important holidays, and I can tell you tonight that it is National Fluffernutter Day. Have you guys ever had a fluffernutter?
Jacob, I don't even know what a fluffernutter is.
Well, I'll tell you what it is. What about you?
No, I've never had it.
So you take white bread, you take marshmallow fluff, put peanut butter on it, and you got yourself a fluffernutter. I've had it only once in my life, and I still can't forget about it. So make yourself a fluffernutter, do yourself a favor. This is gonna be a fun one, guys, and there's gonna be lots of wins that happened all over the place. So let's roll right into Arizona Roundtable and share some of those memorable moments of domination by our Wildcats this past week. All right, I want to get right into women's soccer because since the last time we met, they've had 2 away matches. Trevor, I'll kick it off to you. What could you tell us about their first away matchup?
Arizona women's soccer's trip to Morgantown didn't quite go as planned, as the hunt for that first ever win over West Virginia continues. The Wildcats fell 3-0 to the Mountaineers on Thursday night in a match that showed just how tough it is to win on the road in Big 12 play. Since joining the Big 12, Arizona has struggled to crack this matchup, and their all-time record now sits at 0-1-1 after last year's 1-1 draw in Tucson. This game, however, was all West Virginia from the start. Maddie Levy opened the scoring in the 21st minute, slipping one past Arizona goalkeeper Olivia Ramy. And after halftime, West Virginia's Taylor White took control, netting 2 more goals to seal the deal. Offensively, Arizona just couldn't find a rhythm, finishing with only 4 total shots compared to West Virginia's 16. Still, there were some positive for the Wildcats. Ramy stayed sharp with 3 solid saves, and the team showed resilience in the second half, pushing forward with better energy and a few dangerous looks from Jessica Bedolla and Maria Stevenson. Defensively, the back line held together through extended stretches of Mountaineer pressure, forcing several tough angle shots that kept the game within reach longer than the score might suggest. The areas for improvement were clear. Arizona needed to generate more consistent possession in the midfield since they spent too much time chasing the ball and not enough building attacks. The Wildcats also need to sharpen their finishing touch. Furthermore, when they do create chances, they have to capitalize. This team has heart and hustle, no question. But in the Big 12, small details like timing, spacing, and control make the difference between hanging in and pulling off a statement win. The effort was there, but the execution has to follow, as Arizona looks to bounce back next week and turn those lessons into results.
The effort is definitely there. They're putting the effort on the field. Something that came to my attention was it just seems that it's not putting into translation when they're away. And another time was they had another match recently, Eve. What can you tell us about this other matchup where they were also away?
Thanks, Jacob. Arizona women's soccer fought hard in Cincinnati but came up short in a heartbreaker, falling 1-0 to the Bearcats on Sunday afternoon. For nearly 85 minutes, the Wildcats held their own on the road, showing composure and discipline on defense before Cincinnati finally broke through with a late goal to steal the win. This was only the second ever meeting between the 2 programs, the first coming last season in Tucson when Arizona took a 2-0 victory. This time, the results flipped as the Bearcats found a way to capitalize in its final minutes. Goalkeeper Olivia Ramy was on point all match, making 5 saves and keeping Arizona in the game until the end. The back line of Marissa Arnest and Ella Hattenberg and Arundana Hurge deserves credit for containing Cincinnati's attack throughout most of the afternoon. The Wildcats also created some promising moments in the first half, including a strong chance from Lily Bodystun in the 27th minute and 5 total corners that kept pressure on the Bearcats' defense. What stood out most was Arizona's defense organization and effort. They stayed composed under pressure and managed to frustrate Cincinnati for long stretches of the game. Still, the offense struggled to find consistency, and the team needs to be more decisive in the final third. Midfield possession also remains a work in progress too. As too often, Cincinnati controlled the tempo and limited Arizona's attacking flow. The Wildcats showed heart, focus, and grit throughout the match, but it turned close losses into wins. They'll need to convert more chances and maintain control through midfield. If they can build off this defensive foundation and add more finishing power up front, Arizona has the pieces to bounce back strong as Big 12 plays continue.
Yeah, so a 1-0 loss to Cincinnati on the road. What I can say from my times watching this team was senior goalkeeper Olivia Ramey. Man, with those 5 saves in that game, she really does commit to those what could be goals for the other team. And she's done really well this season, and she'll need to continue doing that as well as the rest of the team if they want to move up in those standings in the Big 12. Now, guys, I have a question for you. Have either of you had a chance to go to a home volleyball game this season?
Fortunately, I have not had the chance, Jacob, no.
What about you, Eve?
No, I have not either. No.
Well, the reason that I ask is because it is a ton of fun for both media and fans to get up close to the action. McKale gets loud, and our city loves its volleyball. Coach Charita Stubbs and the team took on the University of Utah last week. Freshman reporter Alex Kastner went to the game and has more.
The Utah Utes came to Arizona to take on the Wildcats at the McKale Center. After a thrilling back-and-forth match, Arizona came up on top against the Utah Utes. Coming into Thursday's match, Arizona had just completed a difficult non-conference slate that included the number 18th ranked Kansas Jayhawks earlier in the season. The Wildcats hosted the Utah Utes at McKale Center, where the Wildcats were pushed to their limit but ended up coming out on top, improving their record to 8-5 overall and 2-1 in conference play. After a game where Arizona never led in sets, they had come to win 3-2. After Utah's rally from a 6-point deficit to win the first set 25-23, Arizona answered back quickly with a dominant 25-12 second set, powered by a 9-0 run and 5 kills from Charlie Cisneros. Let's hear what season ticket holder Dylan Triunfo had to say about the Wildcats' performance tonight.
They love the energy. Their energy was good. They came out fighting. They struggled a little bit today, and it was just a great atmosphere watching them fight to land and get the W.
On the third set, Utah started off 5-0, helping them take the set 25-17. Arizona battled back in the fourth, ending it 26-24 after 9 tie scores. Next, we'll see what Utah parent Sean Armstrong has to say about Utah's performance.
Off a little bit, but a lot of it has to do with injuries and some health concerns. So we were kind of playing with a skeleton crew. So now that we've got everybody back up and up to full speed, I think we can actually reclaim the season, get things going again.
In a decisive fifth set, Arizona would take the win 15-13, with Jordan Wilson finishing up the game with 17 total kills, with 5 of them coming in the fifth set. Arizona is set to take on their next Big 12 opponent, being the Colorado Buffaloes, on October 8th at 6 p.m., as Colorado is ranked 24th in the country. For UATV, Alex Kastner.
Guys, I actually had the chance to go to that game with Alex, and it was an absolute nail-biter. It went, like he said, all the way to the fifth set, and it was only a game decided by a score of 2. So you definitely have to have the chance to go to one of those games. Mark it on your calendars. Last week, our Wildcats opened up their Big 12 home opener against the Oklahoma State Cowboys in a game that highlighted Mexican heritage. It's going to go after you.
Well, why is it like this?
It's okay, they're going to redo it, but when I've done talking, it's going to
But
go.
it didn't flip.
It's gonna be you. They
Yeah.
did it on accident.
Yeah,
they played the package instead of.
They
started
the
package
on that.
Yeah,
Okay, so can someone just point to me when I
yeah,
talk?
yeah. they'll be told.
You just point to me. Okay.
Because he said take, he didn't say take one, and so they took the package, not the camera.
Yeah.
So.
Jacob, you're gonna have to redo the banter.
Yeah.
Out of it.
It's okay.
Okay, you can start whenever you're ready.
Guys, I actually had the chance to go to that game with Alex, and like he said, it went all the way to 5 sets, and the score, it was so close. You know, the whole stadium was rocking. It was absolutely fun. The team actually got to storm the field once that final set ended, and you guys have to have a chance to go check it out. It's a lot of fun. Now I want to move over. Last week on Saturday, our Wildcats opened up their Big 12 home opener against the Oklahoma State Cowboys in a game that highlighted Mexican heritage.
Arizona was 3-1 heading into this matchup. We're favored to win by 20.5 points. The weather was nearly 90 degrees, which tested the Cowboys, but not our battle-tested Wildcats, who did majority of their training in the Tucson heat.
The Cowboys entered this matchup in the middle of major program turmoil after firing head coach Mike Gundy earlier last week, ending his long tenure at OSU. With the transfer portal now open for Cowboy players, there was uncertainty all over the roster, and Arizona was hoping to take full advantage of that chaos. It was a pivotal moment for both teams. The Wildcats were looking to build momentum in Big 12 play, and Oklahoma State was trying to hold things together amid a sudden rebuild.
So a lot going on for this Oklahoma State, the game that did happen last week. We were favorites in that game, especially, you know, we're playing at home. We seem to do really well in this home atmosphere. We only have one loss, and that was on the road. Now, student reporter Michelle Suarez was there and covered the game.
It was a great day in Tucson on Saturday, where the Wildcats took on the Oklahoma State Cowboys for a midday matchup. The heat was strong as ever with 90-degree temperatures, but that didn't stop the momentum at Arizona Stadium. The Wildcats started out strong with a touchdown by wide receiver Trey Spivey from a 13-yard pass from Noah Fifita at just less than 5 minutes into the first quarter. The Cowboys made it onto the scoreboard just a few minutes later with a field goal, but the Wildcats responded with another touchdown by Spivey following a 22-yard pass from Fifita with just 1 minute and 22 seconds left in the first quarter. The second quarter was just as strong for the Wildcats with touchdown number 3 by Luke Wysong. Going into halftime, the score was 24-6. The Cowboys knew they needed to start making moves in order to keep up. Coming back from the half, they scored 1 touchdown from a 55-yard interception by cornerback LaDainian Fields. But their response was a bit too late, and the Wildcats walked away with the win with a final score of 41-13. Trey Spivey reflects on what worked for the team.
I think that we got great leaders. Our leadership council did a great job of just continuing to harp on responding and just, you know, being ready for the moment, not getting too high or too low.
When I think of our team, I'm just proud of these guys. I'm proud of our coaches and players, how they continue to work, how they continue to play for each other, how they play for the community, and how they play for this university.
The Wildcats just won against the Oklahoma State Cowboys here at Arizona Stadium. This game made them match their win total so far in comparison to last year at 4 wins. Thanks for tuning in with me, Michelle Suarez, for UATV3.
You know, this definitely did feel like a summer game, especially with that heat. I could not imagine how those players were playing and how much water they had to drink. Now, this was definitely an advantage on our end because we have had many practices during the summer where we actually practice outside to prepare for moments like this.
Yes.
When we come back, tonight's student reporter Elias Bonilla will be heading into the huddle with a few of the cross-country runners to hear about their season.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Elias Bonilla, and tonight I'm joined by members of this year's cross-country team, and tonight we'll be interviewing them and finding out all about their season. Right now we have Max Lau, Michael Urbanski, and Mateo Pimienta.
Okay, we're gonna look here now.
So guys, how are you guys doing today?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing phenomenal. You know, you guys have had a really great start to the season, and I just first want to get your opinions on it. You know, what are you guys proud of, and how's the season been for y'all?
Yeah, I think we've had a really good start. It still feels like we're really just getting started. We've had 2 of our meets so far, but it feels like a lot of our season is still left, and we're really excited to keep going.
And this goes for anybody. What has been one of your, favorite things about this season that you guys have done? Have you guys been improving on your times? Obviously, the results are there, and has what you've been doing in practice, has that been translating, well into the events?
Yeah, like we've been training really well under our new coach. I think all of us have been adjusting really well to like our new training plans, because it's always going to be a big adjustment. But that and just getting along as a new team, since we do have a lot of new incoming freshmen, and yeah, we've just been able to bond together as a team and then really translate that onto the cross-country course.
And you guys are, well, Mateo and Max, you're sophomores, and Michael, you're a junior. Do you feel like you have some sort of mentorship for those incoming freshmen? How does it, you have all these new runners, and how do you go into, being a team and, trying to mentor them and prepare them for these events?
Yeah, I feel like the old man. It feels like our team is super young, and I definitely got to kind of show them the ropes, like what to do, what not to do. But they're a great bunch of guys, and so it hasn't been too hard.
And this one's actually for Max. I know you're a transfer student from the University of Kentucky, right?
Right.
How has that transition been, from Kentucky to Arizona, and, the training, all the things that go into being a transfer, runner?
Yeah, I mean, the transfer process, it really was something, but I'm really blessed to have found our coach, Coach Jay Colacias. We sort of got connected, and he's gotten me well integrated within the program, and I'm really excited for what's to come. I've really gotten to really know these guys really well. They're like family to me, and I'm really excited for what's to come next.
And you guys just got your first men's title since 2022. It's the first men's title at home since 2022. In your most recent invitational. Does that add anything, any sort of confidence going into the rest of the season, knowing that, this team is performing that well?
Yeah, it's super exciting. Like Mateo and I were saying, we have a very young team, very inexperienced. So to be able to pull off a result like that very early in the season just makes me super excited for what we can do for the rest of the season and upcoming years. Because I think we all have a lot of room to grow as well. So.
It's great to win at home as well.
Yeah. And, the preparation for cross country is a bit unique compared to other sports. A lot of other sports here at Arizona, they have weekly events. They sometimes have games, multiple times a week. Right now you've only had a few invitationals so far this season, and they're all so far spread out, by weeks at a time. That preparation that goes into it, how do you prepare knowing, hey, I have a whole month before I have to compete again? Does that, affect how you go in and train and prepare for these events?
I mean, I think it's a really good cycle because we know there are weeks to perform, but within the months and within that time, it's really great to be able to take advantage of, the weeks before our different competitions, and we really get into a cycle where, now we can reflect on what we need to work on, and then we have that time to re-strengthen up and then taper back into competition weekend. It's really like spin cycle getting through these meets. and it's been great.
And I think it really does help having them spaced apart, because you could get like a really good month or like 2 months of a good like training block in to like just put on mileage and just get tons of good workouts in, because it's never going to be just like one workout that's going to make us like a lot faster. It's just all like being consistent with our mileage and performing well in each of the workouts. It all builds up towards like the race in a month or 2-3 weeks.
And when you guys are you guys training all as a team together, or are you doing in groups, or how does that work? Take us through the process.
We'll typically have like a couple different training groups throughout the practice, but we're all usually doing like the same kind of workout, so we're able to really help each other get through those tough ones.
And those of you that are performing really well, from the start of the season, how do you help your teammates, to those who, might be struggling in certain sort of trainings or struggling in certain aspects, how do you help each other, kind of prepare for each individual invitational?
I think it's just about keeping the good vibes, really just kind of being positive and uplifting each other and letting everybody know, like, your time will come. Like, you're putting in the work, like, it's going to pay off. So I think everybody just remembers that and good things happen.
And I think that's why it's so important, like, not just, like, training well and getting good times, but also, like, bonding together as a team, so that if one of us has, like, a bad day or if somebody has a bad race, we're there for each other to lift each other up and, like, really get them back on their feet. And, like, yeah.
And the great part about this team is we don't really see each other as teammates, but more as brothers, because we're kind of like a big old happy family, and wherever we're weak, the guys who are stronger in certain areas will pick us up, and it ebbs and flows and it comes and goes, and we all work it out as a family together.
That's great. That's really great, because, after all, cross country, when people see it, they think, oh, it's just in an individual event, but from the sounds of it, it's really a team sport at the end of the day. What would you guys say is one thing you want to improve on individually? You can answer this individually if you'd like. What is one thing you want to improve on, before the season's done?
Just
could I
run
just say
faster.
my race time? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty simple.
Always could run faster.
Yeah. And, you say race faster. Can you take us through, someone who doesn't know anything about cross country, take us through a regular day of practice. What kind of exercises are you guys doing, to prepare yourself for these runs?
Yeah, so typically, when we start our practice, we would do our basic stretches, get the body warmed up and ready to go. So we would do yoga stretches, we would do leg swings. One of the exercises our coaches really like us doing is like our lunge activation in order to get the body up, ready, and moving. And then if we have a workout day, typically we would do usually around 20 minutes of a warm-up run, and then we would go into dynamics, get in our main workout, and get that kick in. And then once we're done, we would cool down, stretch, and reinforce our workout with a little bit of strength work and stretching and mobility at the end. So that's usually how a day for us goes.
And eat well after
Eat well.
runs.
BDK is important.
Mm-hmm. And then we typically have like our hard workout days. Those will be like Tuesdays and Fridays, and more of our like easy mileage, just interspersed throughout the week, and then long runs over the weekend. And we're averaging like anywhere from 70 to 90 miles a week right now.
And does that change, does the workout, the training get more intense the closer you get to an event, or would you say it's,
the opposite?
Yeah, we typically taper and like take it easier to be really race ready.
Yeah, it sort of comes in a cycle where after we finish racing, we have to do some maintenance work, but then we'll build up to like a peak week, usually 2 weeks before our race, and then the week before we start bringing down that volume, but, maintaining that intensity. And then once we're in race week, we got to save our energy and get ready for that.
And, you guys can train, all you want, but there's more, besides just training, there's lifestyle as well. Have you guys had to make any sort of lifestyle changes, outside of cross country, diet, sleep, that sort of thing, to help you prepare?
Absolutely. I mean, the most important part of getting good at your sport isn't what you do at practice, but it's the other hours in the day within that 24 hours. So that means, getting at least 8 to 9 hours of sleep, maintaining that sleep schedule, because if you're sleeping 9 hours at like 12 a.m. at one night and then bringing it back to like 7 p.m. another night, that's not going to work. Eating, Mateo covered this already, but like that's a really important part of our sport. A lot of people think, you got to stay skinny to run fast, but a lot of athletes, especially runners, typically underfuel, and these guys can probably add on more if I'm forgetting anything.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think the biggest things are just like focusing on your nutrition and then your sleep. And we just have a great staff all around. We have dietitians, we have athletic trainers, and then like counselors as well to just really help us make sure we've got everything in line outside of practice.
Yeah, also just like we are student athletes still, so just keeping up with all our classes, all of the homework we have, like that's also very important off the field. Also, so we could get that team GPA award again.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because, as student athletes, I know you guys, at the end of the day might not do cross country after you leave college. You guys are focused on your degrees and stuff. And has there ever been a point where cross country and that, schoolwork have kind of been a challenge at any point throughout your time here?
Mateo?
Yeah, it definitely has. For me, a lot of my engineering classes are very like homework and lecture heavy. So it is really hard to find that balance. And I'm really grateful for Coach Jay because he has like I've talked to him about like my course load. So like some days like during the week he'll have me like take an off day that week and then like make up that run later in the week so like I could catch up on homework during the week and like really stay on top of both homework and training.
That's really good. That's really good. All right, so the invitationals, I believe you guys have one more before you start getting into those Big 12 championships, those regional events. Does the preparation, for those events look any different? Do you go into those events, knowing these are the big ones? How does that look? Knowing that you're nearing, that part of the season where awards are starting to be given out and titles are on the line.
It's a little bit different for regionals just because we do bump up our racing distance from 8K to 10K, but I would say not really because, what we're doing is working, and what matters is getting in the work each week and building what we've done the week before, week by week, and really there's no need for any pressure because we put in the work and we know what we can do, we know what our guys can do, and we know what we're capable of. If we can all, pull together our fullest potential on race day, we should be good to go.
And I guess this goes for all your events. You only have one home event the entire season. Does that travel? Is there any fatigue associated with it? Or do you guys go into these events? Hey, everyone's kind of traveling, everyone's kind of on even playing ground. How does that go in knowing that basically your entire season is away somewhere else?
Yeah, I think it'd be nice to have more home events, but I don't think that traveling really negatively affects us too much. Honestly, I love traveling. I love getting to go to new places and just kind of like race in new areas and new towns and see what they have to offer. So I personally love it.
All right, one more, predictions. How do you guys, going into these final events, what do you have to say to anybody that, is, I guess, doubting the cross-country team, and what do you have to say to the U of A and the students out there who are, watching and rooting you on going into these regional events?
I think like just know that like we've been putting in the work like all throughout the summer, all throughout the fall, going into like the championship season. So like we are prepared as a team going into this next invitational and then the postseason after that.
Yeah, I think we're ready to surprise people with how we perform.
We don't just have the guys, but we have the right guys, and y'all best pay attention. Bear down, baby.
Oh my God.
I can't think of a better way to finish the interview with them with that. Well, I really appreciate you guys coming on. That concludes this installment of Inside the Huddle. I want to give a special thanks again to tonight's guests and wish the team success with the rest of the season. When we come back, Jacob, Eve, and Trevor will finish off the show. Once again, I'm Elias Bonilla.
Thanks for tuning back in. The show tonight is coming to an end, so it's time to send our messages. My shout out goes out to the University of Arizona women's volleyball team. They're competing tonight against the Buffaloes out of Boulder, Colorado, who are ranked 24th in the country. Let's hope for a good win.
My shout out goes out to the Seattle Mariners. Mariners, may your bats be hot, your pitchers unhittable, and your bullpen remember what a strike zone is. Mariners, we are all counting on you to save baseball from another almost.
That is a great take. I'm sure you and all Mariners fans are having the same goal, and I wish them the best of luck. And you, Eve, who does your shout out go out to tonight?
Thank you, Jacob. My shout out goes to the Phoenix Mercury. You're back in the WNBA finals, and we're ready to see you turn up the heat in Game 3 tonight.
Yes, the Aces do have a 2-0 lead in the series, so hopefully the Mercury can rally and carry this series later. Thank you everyone for tuning in tonight. Be sure to check us out on our social media and watch the next Wildcast on Monday. Have a great week and a great night. Until next time, bear down, Wildcats.